Okay. Oh no, wrong one. Here we go. Let us set a timer. Oh, wrong. Sorry about that. There we go. This is too far out. Bring it in. Like so. Okay. Okay. Hey Shay, what's up? Oh. I don't like that idea. It's too cheesy. I think I need some assistance here. It's been a long week. I had off last week from work, and it was like a staycation because I didn't actually go anywhere. But this week was kind of all over the place because when you're out of work, out from work for a week, and then you come back to work and you have emails and meetings and deadlines and et cetera, et cetera. So it's been quite a week. But because I was out, on the staycation last week, I didn't do I I hardly did any streaming, and I did not do a Friday story like I typically would have. Um, but I gave myself a freebie on that because I was technically on vacation, so I really should have thought of that and, like let people know, hey, I'm on vacation, so I'm not going to be releasing a story that Friday or last Friday. So I'm going to release one today. And so my next vacation, which is in like 3 weeks, I will make sure to, you know, let people know on the November, I think it's November 6th or 5th or whatever that Friday is. I'm going to put a note at the end that says I'll be on vacation, so that November 15th story will not happen. So that way I don't feel like a huge and total waste man for not doing a story when I was, technically on vacation. I'm trying to think of a good storyline here. I'm using, I don't know if you've ever heard of Storymatic, where it's like a bunch of, it's supposed to be 6 trillion stories in one little box. And so the idea is you have a set of cards that are descriptors for a person, and then a set of cards that are descriptors for a plot line. And so I'm trying to find something in either instance that would help me to uh, have either an interesting plot or an interesting character um, for this story. I mean, so far I like the idea that I have where there's this guy who wakes up from a coma, and um, everyone's telling him that he's only been in a coma for like a few days. You know, his wife is the same, everything seems the same, so everything should be normal, but there are certain things that seem out of place and not familiar to him. And so there's going to be a nurse um, who tries to, I don't know if I want to say warn him or tell him what is really going on here. And so I have to figure out what the creepy ending would be. I want it to have somewhat of a creepy ending because we are in October, the month of, you know, Halloween. So I want, if not this story to be creepy, definitely next week's story to be a scary story, or next Friday's. Um, but yeah, it's very Twilight Zoney, because I want it to be that they're um, his family and everything around him are not real; they're fake. His family are actually robots. I'm thinking either robots or uh, some sort of aliens, maybe holographs, and he's actually on an alien spaceship, and humanity was actually taken over by aliens. I don't know if that's too hokey to do that. Okay, so I think I have some some good plot ideas. If I could just stop sneezing. Yeah, let's see about the character here. I mean, I could make it. Thank you. Yeah, I have to take all these vacations because, and this always happens to me. It's not unusual at all with my work ethic and with work in general. But I never take my vacation like throughout the year. And so what always ends up happening is I get to October, and that's usually around the time when your boss and everything starts talking about like, have you used all your vacations? Because in New York, you use it or lose it, right? So if you don't use your vacations, then you don't get to carry them over and they're gone. And I always end up looking, and it turns out I didn't take any of my vacation days. I just worked and worked and worked, and the time that I would take off is usually I would take a personal day or I would take sick time, but I would never end up taking a vacation because I don't typically take vacations to go anywhere. And of course, that's what happened this year, and it makes sense, obviously, being, where am I going, and so like I didn't take any time, and but that's even if I was going somewhere or anything like that, that's not unusual for me, and so I'm scrambling to take time off. Now I was in California for 4 years, and in California, they don't have a use it or lose it policy. You actually the law is that you can carry over your vacation days into the next year if you do not use them that current year. So because of that, when I moved from California to New York, what ended up happening was I had 3 vacation days from my California time that I was able to to quote unquote carry over, even though I'm now legally a New York State resident. So on top of the 15 vacation days, paid vacation days that I already have, I added 3 to that, so I have 18. Then I have what's called flex days. I have 6 of those. Then I have, I think, 4 or 5 personal days. And yeah, so out of all of those days, which comes out to about like, I don't know, 5 weeks worth of vacation, I only used like 3 vacation days. So I had to like put them somewhere, anywhere, and we're already at the end of the year when paid holidays are happening. So I'm like, okay, where can I stick these things? I don't even think I'm using all of them. I think I'm gonna end up losing some vacation days because I just could not find the places to put them out. I'm gonna check again like next week and just do a last minute count to see, okay, how many days will I have left after my November, because I'm taking a week off in November. And the other thing that my job is great, it's wonderful, but the week that I took off last week, I ended up 2 of those days ended up being paid days that my job gave me because of mental health day was like last week Friday or Monday, I don't even know what. So my job, because they're all about mental health, I had taken off as vacation time last week, Friday October 8th, and then Monday the 11th, and lo and behold, they sent an email saying, it's mental health day, so we're going to give you paid time off October 8th and October 11th, so you have a long 4-day weekend. So what was originally meant to be vacation now got wiped clean and became time that they took. So 2 days got given back to me, and now I have to figure out where else to put them. and look at the calendar and be like, okay, I was originally going to use these days, but that didn't happen because you guys gave them to me. And then what Veterans Day in November, we typically don't get that day. We would get something else. I forget what the other holiday is, but again, they decided that we would get Veterans Day, a holiday that most companies don't give their employees. Um, but Thursday, November 11th, we have that day off. So when I'm taking that week, that Thursday is not going to be used as a vacation day. It's going to be used as a holiday. Um, so it's like every time I'm trying to take time off, they keep coming up with reasons to give it as like a paid day. So it's like, okay, you're not allowing me to take to use these vacation days, damn it. Let me use them. Stop giving them to me as freebies and paying me for the privilege. I mean, I should be thankful, right? Because a lot of people and a lot of companies don't do this, so and don't get this. So I like I said, I'm trying not to complain, but at the same time, it's like you're making it very difficult for me to take time off because every time I do, you send an email like, "Hey, we're giving you that time as a holiday, as a paid vacation," and blah blah blah. And ugh. Anyway, let me see what I can do with this that I have here. I have some cards to kind of guide my way. Yeah, he must take daily. Yeah, it is low key a good problem to have. I mean, tech normally when I was working in New York, I would not take vacation, or they would encourage us to take vacation before November. Like November and December were time periods where you were not expected to take vacation unless you absolutely had to. And the reason was because we had a week for Thanksgiving paid and then a week from Christmas to New Year's paid. So, from Christmas Eve all the way through New Year's Day, however that fell on the calendar, we had that entire week off with pay. So because of that, they didn't want, the job didn't want us to take time off then. But again, unless like maybe you were going away somewhere, leaving the country for the holidays, so they would let you, blah, blah, blah. But so in my mind, by the time I got to the month of October, that's usually when I'm like, oh my God, did I take any time? If I didn't, how? But because of the way my job is now, I have multiple clients that have different deadlines and different things that happen throughout the month. And while I do have people who technically are there to back me up when I'm out, I'm the kind of person who doesn't like to leave something to someone else to do because that's just how I am. So it's been difficult to find the time to take without there being some sort of need for someone else to do something during that time that I'm out, because I don't just have one client. If I just had one client, it would be so easy for me to be able to take 2 weeks in a row or even 3 weeks in a row. But because I have actually five clients, it's difficult. There things are due for each one, not at the same time, which is good because I don't want all five clients to be expecting something from me at the same time. But because of that, it makes my ability to feel comfortable to just be like, I'm taking off this week, um, a little less. Okay, I'll have to figure out what that truth is, but hopefully this will be an interesting story. Oh, what am I doing? Do you read YA fiction, like fantasy and sci-fi? By the way, just curious if you've heard of the drama with the six best-selling New York Times best-selling authors in that genre that happened over the past like couple days. It was pretty crazy, actually. Just want to make sure I'm following the definition. Oops. Okay. Yeah, like you saw, I still have the page up. I won't close it because it or refresh it because I know if I do, it's gonna give me a 404 error to say that the page has been taken down. So I have it up from when it came live, like a day and a half ago, and I was in the Discord server, so I was there when all the shit went down like crazy. So I knew it was dead in the water, unfortunately. But it was a good idea up until Sunday. Was it Sunday? It couldn't have been Sunday. It had to have been like 2 days ago because I think it was Saturday or Sunday when they did the like treasure hunt where you had to they gave a clue to go to a library in Los Angeles and find a clue in a book in that library. And I think that happened, it was either on football Sunday or it was on Saturday. I can't remember what day. But then it was a couple days ago when they unveiled like what all of this was about, and then the madness, the absolute madness in that Discord server. And I was like, I mean, unfortunately, the ones who scream the loudest are usually the minority, but because they scream the loudest, they get what they want. And so it got shut down pretty quickly. I wanted to see where it was going to go. I have absolutely no interest in NFTs and I don't know if that's just me sounding like an old fogey, but I have no interest whatsoever in whatever it is that is. But I would have liked to have seen what their plan was, because I know of another group that's not the name and notoriety of Ransom Riggs and Tahiri and all of those people, Mary Lou, who want to do that exact same thing with NFTs, but like I said, they don't have the name. And so it's so funny that I mentioned this to this group, said, hey, look, these, like New York Times bestselling authors are doing the exact same thing that you guys want to do. Maybe you should watch and see what happens. And the second I said that, I was like, however, I want to caveat that this thing looks like it's going to crash and burn before the ship even takes off. And it was, I don't know, like 6 hours after that the Twitter was shut down. The Discord, you could no longer chat in. By the time I checked my Discord, like in the middle of the night that night, it was gone. They deleted the server, and I was like, well then, that went quickly. Like, you, I mean, here today, gone tomorrow. It was like, but I could tell, because to me, their Discord can be very much like Reddit, where it's just a cesspool of where all the bad people go. The people who don't want to be a real person, where they want to hide behind an avatar and a fake name and cause issues and cause drama and cause infighting and all of these things. Discord and Reddit and Twitter and all of these places where you don't have to be a real person, but you could be a real asshole. Things like this happen. And so I feel like the mistake that they made was in starting this and creating this and trying to promote this in a Discord server, because I knew that wasn't going to work. I knew that there was going to be a subset of people in there who, whatever the plan was going to find a reason, a rhyme, a why. It was the worst thing you could possibly do, close to like a genocide. And that's basically what happened. And so they had to shut it down. There was no way to dig themselves out of that hole once. I mean, but that's the risk you take when you put something on the internet where 99.9% of the people who are on the internet using these social media things are not who they claim to be. And that's just it. I mean, like I said, I still wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt. I mean, I feel the same way about Amazon's Vela. There are still questions that they are not answering, and there are still issues ginormous with that program. But because it's Amazon, everyone seems to be hunky dory with it, and it's like whatever. But to me, that's what this group of people were trying to do is no different than what Amazon is doing. The only difference is Amazon's getting away with it, and no one seems to have any problem with it. But to me, Vela is just as sideways glance an issue as any other thing would be, any other startup would be. But we're letting Amazon Vela get away with highway robbery here, and no one's stopping to ask questions, or people are asking questions, but Amazon, being Amazon, is like, well, we don't have to answer them. We're just going to do what we do best, which is steal from the poor and become rich, rich, rich. and hope that no one notices. Well, that's one of the issues that I have. I mean, I don't know if I agree with it's not geared towards adults, because I don't know any children or any underage people who are using Vela right now. All the people I know who are using Vela are my age or older, and they're going all in on Vela, and I'm keeping a close watch on where everyone's reporting on what's happening and how much of the bonus that they're getting in order for Amazon to keep them from leaving. How easy, or I'm being sarcastic when I say this, how easy it is for them to pull out of Vella if they want to, which in fact it is not easy to pull your content from Vella. They make it very difficult, and they are doing things which don't make any sense whatsoever to keep people from wanting to pull their content. Which is weird that it wasn't geared towards adults, because again, the majority of the people who were interested or who were even in the server were adults. I mean, I could tell that right away. And it's weird to me that YA writers are still thinking that they're gearing their work to young adult audiences when that's not actually the case. The fact of the matter is, young adult readers are females between the ages of like 25 and 45. So I wish that young adult authors would get the memo here and stop, acting like the majority of their sales are coming from teenagers under the age of 21 or even under the age of 18, because that's just not true. I think it's somewhere between like 40 and 55% of the market sales for YA are coming from women, like I said, between the ages of 25 and 45. But that's a whole other discussion for a whole other thing. But the majority of the people in the server were not young adults. It was people who, I can't even remember where I got the link for this Discord server. I was trying to go back in my emails because I don't think I'm in the email list from Ransom Riggs, but that's the only way that I could imagine that I got information about this is from him, because of all of the other writers who were a part of this thing. He's the only one that I read religiously and follow religiously. So there was, maybe I saw it on his Instagram. Maybe that's where I got the link. Wherever I got the link from, it was clear and obvious that I would bet money that 99.9% of the people in that server who came there because they were fans of these people were all my age or older. So whether or not, regardless of who they may or may not have been targeting to do the thing, and also I will say, being someone who was in the server, that there was a huge majority of people who were actually excited about what they were doing. However, like I said, it's always the minority of people who scream the loudest and have the most to say. So while the majority of us wanted to see it through, were excited for November 8th, wanted to see what was going to happen next, and were willing to take that leap with them to test this out, because someone has to do it, right? If this is ever going to happen, somebody has to do it. And to me, I'd rather someone who I know do it than this other group that I was telling you about, who are a bunch of nobodies who are trying to do it. And it's like, I don't know you. You can try, but you are going to fail even faster than this group did, and they got as far as having the website and doing the treasure hunt in the library. But in any event, like, the majority of the people who were in the Realms of Ruin Discord server had no issue with any of their plans. In fact, were ready, willing, and able to hold their hands and walk through the fire with them. The problem was that the small 10% of the people in the server were screaming the loudest and wouldn't shut up. And so, as always, what always happens in society is the smallest group are the ones who scream the loudest, and they're the ones who always affect change. Whether it's positive or negative is up to that person's point of view and definition, but that's what happened here. A small group screamed and bitched and moaned the loudest, and they went on Twitter and they went on Reddit and they wrote in their little blog that no one read until the day they wrote this thing, and that was that. So it's unfortunate, you know. I never spoke in the server. I never said anything, but that's what the majority usually doesn't. The majority is usually the quiet person who's like, I'm just gonna sit back and wait. Um, but the minority had the votes, and that's what happened. Okay, let's see. We have. I mean, either way, it's going to happen again. There's no way that NFTs and writing is not going to come together. I mean, it already is. There's some site, I don't even remember what it's called, Mirror or something, that already has this concept of writing stories and then selling them through some NFT mumbo jumbo nonsense. Um, but it's not in this, it's not the same idea and concept that they have, which was that you don't buy or sell the story. It's more you buy and sell the characters themselves, um, and etc etc. But you know, it's going to happen whether we like it or not, whether we agree with it or not, whether we think it's going to destroy the environment or not. um, yeah, I mean, I've it's from my experience, whether it's, you know, a family squabble to a to political discourse to international warfare, it's all the same thing. The smallest group shouts the loudest, and the majority don't, and therefore, while the majority may win in cases of like voting or whatever the hell you want to call it, the minorities always win because they are the ones who are going to shout the loudest. I mean, that's just the way it is. Um, do I want to do this in first person? I've been writing in first person a lot, which I don't mind because I need to kind of practice first person. So let's write in first person. No, let's start with. Well, I guess that's where you and I disagree because while you might say the minority are blacks and gays, I think they're that you're not including those who are not black and those who are not gay, who are pro black rights and who are pro gay rights, who do then make up the majority, and therefore because they are the majority, they're not the ones winning out here. In the fight for black rights and gay rights, you can't just count a person who's black and a person who's gay, and therefore, because they're the minority, that's why they're losing the fight. In fact, they're not. There's 2 to 3 times as many people who are pro blacks and who are pro gays, so therefore they actually make up the majority. But there are a lot of people who are pro black and who are pro gay and who are pro women's rights, who, whether you like it or not, are not going to carry the banner, are not going to go to the marches. They're going to be pro those things, but they're going to be pro those things in their hearts, in their minds, and in their personal life, in their personal bubble. And until you can insist that those people come out of their house and go do those things, then yes, it will seem like the minority are the blacks and the gays, but that's just not true. They're actually the majority. But you can't factualize that because, again, unless you personally go to everybody's house and look them in the face and count the numbers on who's pro this and who's pro that, I mean, I can't even say that. That's just my assumption, being someone who, is surrounded by Confederate flags where I live. However, with every one Confederate flag I see 5 pride flags. So, you know, again, that's where we differ. I mean, me as a person who is shy and, I don't want to be a public speaker and I don't want to be an advocate for anything. I don't go to marches. I don't go to rallies. I don't do any of those things. And I happen to be all the things that people are fighting for my rights to be. But, if in your opinion, then that makes me not pro black, not pro gay, and not pro women, okay. I've heard that before. I've been in college where I've had every black person say to me that I am not black, that I have no right to be any of the things that I happen to be, because I will not do the things that they are out there marching to do. And that's their right to do it. And it's also my right not to. It's my right to say, I'm going to live my life and I'm going to do my thing. And I'm not going to go out and do the other things. No, sorry, I'm not trying to twist your words. I'm just saying that um, in the many ways that people are an advocate for rights of other people or races or religions or sexual orientations or whatever the case may be. I do not participate in any of those ways. And in many ways, because of that, I realize that I do get criticized for it. For instance, I hadn't even considered it, but the very first series that I wrote and published A lot of people felt that I shouldn't have done it and that they couldn't believe that I wrote a book where the main character wasn't black, wasn't a woman, and wasn't gay. And so it was like it was my duty as or it's my duty as a writer that if I don't write a character that is black, gay, or a woman, then I shouldn't be writing because that's the only kind of literature that I should be putting out in order to fight the fight and put more content out into the world that's black and female and gay. And if I don't do that, then I should not be writing and I should not have a following or an audience because of that. Um, and it is what it is. If I don't want to write a main character that's a woman, I think I should have the right to do that. If I don't want to write a main character that's gay, I mean, personally, I don't want to write a main character that has any sort of relationships whatsoever because I find them icky. I don't like romance. I don't want hand holding. I don't want flirting. I don't want first time kisses. I don't want any of that BS in my writing. So to write a character who's gay or straight to me is insane because in order for me to say one way or the other, I feel like then they have to have some sort of romantic inclination or emotion towards a gender one way or the other, and that's something I am not going to do because the second I read that in a book, close it, set it aside, don't like it. But well, I can only speak for myself, so that's why I'm using myself as an example. I'm not trying to say that you're attacking me in any way. I can't speak for the other. I can't speak for you. I can't speak for my wife. I can't speak for my next door neighbor. The only person I can speak for, to, and about is myself. So that's why I'm using myself in the first person, because I only know what I know, and I only know what I believe and what I think, and what I feel. So I'm not using myself as if to say that you are attacking me and therefore I need to defend myself. I'm just saying this is the point of view with which I am coming from on the conversation and the topic at hand. So don't feel like I'm saying, oh, you're attacking me, so let me defend myself. Girl, personally, I could care less. Personally, I'm just going to write my stories and I'm just going to write my emails and, whenever things come up that make me either uncomfortable or I don't agree with or I have no input or knowledge or something to say, I ain't gonna say it. Um, to be there in the first place. Traffic, no, 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 no. Hmm. By the twinkle in her eye, even with Oh, his words need to cut sharply, so good to see you would not. Um, would you say the nurse's first name or last name? I feel like you would say her first name. Right? Like, I'm trying to hear instances in like TV or something where I would have heard someone calling a nurse, and my mind is going to call the midwife, which didn't really have nurses, they had midwives, but I believe they called them like nurse. Oh, now I have to look it up. Now I have to look it up because it's gonna kill me here. Hold on. Let me look it up. Let me look it up. How would I look this up? Here we go. Let me see. Actually, no, they would say their last name because now it would be like Nurse Franklin or Nurse Crane. Yeah, so it would be the last name. Okay. I knew using Call the Midwife would be the best place to check. Although, Call the Midwife takes place in the 60s. So, I just thought of that as well. That would be outdated then. Because, okay, I'm spending too much time on this, and this isn't even like the important part, but I feel like I want to give her a first name just because it would just work better. I'm actually picking names out of books on my bookshelf because I don't have the brain capacity right now to like go to a website and look up a name. So I'm just like, let me see. And what's so obvious to me looking at all of the books on my shelf is that the majority of them are men. So I'm sitting here looking for a woman to like jump out at me, and I don't have any books here written by any women. Oh, that's kind of funny. Well, that's I don't like Jessica though. It's not. It's not really. Oh, wait, that's a man's name, but it can also be a woman's name. Let's go with Terry. Because I think Terry, if I'm not mistaken, is the name of Whoopi Goldberg's character in Jumping Jack Flash. I think her name is Terry. Does she spell it with a Y or with an I? That's the question. I'm like almost positive that's her name in the movie. Yep, and she spells it with a Y. Oh yeah, cause I'm good, cause I'm good. And I haven't seen Jumping Jack Flash in like several years. So how do I remember that? I don't know. I don't know how that came to my mind. I'm looking at my Terry Pratchett books for Discworld, and I'm thinking, wait, Terry can also be a girl's name, and then instantly I can hear the white chick in that movie with the red hair calling her name, Terry, Terry, Terry this and Terry that. So I knew that that was her name. Anyway, sorry. Now I want to see Jumping Jack Flash. Um, Now that I have that in my mind. I should only have two more names that I need to come up with, which would be his wife, and he's gonna have a kid. I'll probably make it a boy. It really doesn't matter the gender of the child, just that the child exists. Um, yeah, usually I would use my go-to name generator is fantasynamegenerator.com. Like that's the one I go to. I would say 99.9% of the time. That's my go-to. What was that sound? I just heard like a beep. Oh, I think it was my Discord. I think that's what it was. is so cold. I am like freezing. Might take you some time. Might take some time. Oh, I didn't take my pills yet. Okie dokie. Why do I hear hammering? I swear, this house is so big, sometimes I feel like there's someone else living here, and we just don't know it. There could very well be. thinking I'm gonna leave this entire story in one location in this hospital room. So it's gonna be very Twilight Zone because it's sort of like that episode where there's a woman who's got like this face covering on, and I guess they did surgery on her because she wants to look the same as everyone else, and she's hoping that this surgery was successful. And the whole like twist of it is that everyone there looks like, you know, an alien, and she has like a regular human face, and so the surgery isn't successful, and she tries to run away, and they end up sending her to this place where there are other people just like her, so she won't feel out of place. This isn't exactly that. The only similarity is that, yes, you know, he's in a hospital, but it's a different scenario because I think I want to make it robots instead of aliens in this one, where the thing that goes haywire is the nurse, because she's going against what she's programmed, or how she's programmed to behave, because in the length of time that he was there, she started to care about him in some way. I think I was actually gonna make it that she's human and everyone else around her is a robot, and there are some humans there who are just under the control of. I think that's why I had her touch her neck when the doctor spoke to her, because what's gonna happen is she's gonna pull down her collar to show this guy in the hospital bed that she's wearing some sort of device around her neck, so that if she should, you know, do something she's not supposed to do, they can, you know, push a button and it would like electrocute her or something like that. So I think that's actually better than having her be a robot that goes haywire. And he is, I think I want him to remember who he is, and basically he's maybe the inventor of these robots, and they started to take over the world, if you will, and they had to put him in a coma until such time as, you know, they can wake him. And I feel like there's got to be a reason why they wake him. All of this, of course, within a 2,000 word story. I love when I come up with these plot lines and they clearly deserve to be longer than 2,000 words, but I force them into a 2,000 word story. But I'm thinking that the reason why they have to wake him is because there's something wrong with like one of the robots, or the code, and so they're forced to wake him because he's the one who built the code, and so he's got to be the one to fix it. So their intention was to keep him in this coma basically forever until, you know, so that they could, in a way, like worship him as their creator, but not have him destroy them, which is what they feared he would do when he, you know, realized what they were up to. I like that idea. It actually works. How quickly I went from first person to third person in the same sentence. Ah. Carefully, no, cautiously. Oh boy. What time is it? Oh, almost time for me to start my day. But first, I don't know why. Alright, I gotta figure out a slam bang ending here. Interesting. Boy, I haven't had a random like sign up in a minute. That's a first. Sorry, I'm checking my email. Which I know I probably shouldn't be doing right now, but I needed a brief break. 7. Wonderful. Oh, I probably should have looked at that email. Oh well. Oh, good. feel like that's an important thing to look into that. I'm gonna stop the timer because I'm clearly going to go past that. And I have done my 2 hours, so I'm actually trying to stick to 2 hours and not go over 2 hours too much. Even though I'm not finished the story, I'm just gonna finish it off stream and then get it out to my email list, which is almost at 700. I think it's at 690 something, 693 I think. So almost hit 700 this week, which is pretty cool. I think I just got one added, so I'm probably at 694 now. But I will be sending out my Friday fiction, so anyone who's subscribed to my newsletter will be receiving that in the next couple of hours. I'm going to try to do it in the next 2 hours, and get that out, and then set up some Instagram posts because I haven't done that in a week. So I need to get back on the wagon with getting my Hootsuite set up with all of that, and then do some actual like work. And then I have to do we have a family meeting, so I have that this afternoon. It's just a long Friday, and I'm already like exhausted thinking about it. But thank you to everyone for being here, for watching. I will be back hopefully on Monday. I'm trying to get back to my Monday, Wednesday, Friday streaming routine, but I make no promises because like this next week is going to be a bit crazy. The chickens that have been living in our house will be moving out into their coop, so there's a lot of things that have to happen in order to make that take place. So I may not be able to stream because my contribution to this is watching the dogs while my wife goes out and does all the things. And so when I watch them, it's downstairs and not up here in my office with the whole setup and the mic and all the things. So yeah, anyway, with that said, I am going to go and try and do everything that I need to do today and do it in a timely manner. So you may see me on Monday, you may not, but you will definitely see me next Friday for my next Friday fiction, and that's a guarantee. As for the other days, up in the air. Until